Hello and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you're seeing, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. My name's Hannah and I make a lot of videos about the wild things I see on the internet, and this series is MLM Top Fails, specifically about people in multi-level marketing companies and the things they are posting. There's all kinds of tactics and strategies and things that people in MLMs will post on social media to try and get you sucked into the scheme. So what we do is we showcase those here, we debunk them, we discuss them, and ideally and hopefully explain why this is a business model you should not get yourself involved in. I've got some great MLM fails for you today, but before we get into that, I'd love to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Good Chop. Good Chop offers fully customizable boxes of high-quality meat and seafood delivered to your door on your schedule. There's over 60 high-quality cuts to choose from, including 100% grass-fed ribeyes, USDA prime filet mignon, wild-caught salmon and shrimp, free-range and organic chicken breasts, thick-cut bacon, just to name a few. One thing that really adds to my efficiency as a new mom is buying all of our meat in bulk and storing it in the freezer. I love to keep a really well-stocked freezer and pantry with all of our staples to make those meal times easier, because I'm needing to whip things up really fast and sometimes on the fly. So having Good Chop meat on hand has been really convenient for that. Recently, I did a yummy Saturday morning pancake breakfast with Good Chop bacon, which was a treat. And then later in the week, I made my mother-in-law's creamy green chili chicken enchiladas, which is like the ultimate comfort meal. These are so good. And I've still got some ground beef and some ribeyes and some salmon in the freezer that I can cook up anytime. I love Good Chop because you get to select what cuts of meat and seafood you'd like to have on hand. The products are vacuum sealed and flash frozen at peak freshness and shipped right to you. It's as simple as going to grab them from your freezer whenever you're ready to cook them. I'm pretty notorious for planning and shopping for certain meals, and then before I know it, like 5, 6, 7 days have gone by and I've lost track of time, life's gotten in the way. It's like, crap, I bought this chicken for this one specific meal and then I forgot about it. Now it's been too long, I have to throw it out. It's such a waste. Luckily, that never happens with Good Chop because I can pull them from the freezer whenever I need them. Nothing goes to waste because everything is staying fresh. And another bonus is that Good Chop sources all of its meat and seafood from American farms and fisheries. By choosing Good Chop, you're supporting local family farms and independent ranchers right here in the US. If you'd like to try out Good Chop for yourself, you can head to goodchop.com/YouTube and use my code HannahAlonzo120, or just click the link in the description below. And this is going to give you $120 off across your first 4 boxes. Again, that's goodchop.com/YouTube with code HannahAlonzo120 for $120 off across your first 4 boxes. Thanks again to Good Chop for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into these MLM fails. Okay, we're going to get the most disturbing thing out of the way first. This is an Instagram reel from somebody in Arbonne and just a major trigger warning for the death of a loved one in a tragic way. YouTube can sometimes be particular about verbalizing the specific word, so I'm just going to refer to it as S. Her reel is super short. It says, "I got the call at 10:28 and I immediately booked a flight. My life was about to change forever. See the caption for details." And her caption is really long, so I'm just going to summarize it, but it'll be on the screen if you want to pause and read through it for yourself. She describes the experience of getting a call from her mom informing her that her sister attempted S, and so she needed to get on a flight to go be with her at the hospital, where unfortunately she did pass away tragically. She then goes on to say, "This experience put my body into a state of fight or flight, and now even 4 years later, my body remembers. Trauma raises your cortisol levels because your body feels it needs protecting from perceived danger. When your body is in a constant state of fight or flight, it takes a toll on your body. We're not meant to be in a constant state of perceived danger. Even if you haven't lost a loved one to S, you can still experience being in fight or flight. I've spent the last 4 years learning how to heal and calm my body. Comment cortisol and I will share some of the things I've done to help my body get into rest and digest and out of fight or flight." When you see anybody on social media urging their viewers to comment a certain word, in this case the word cortisol, that usually signals that they've set up some kind of automated messaging service. Basically, you can pay for a service that recognizes keywords that you've set, so when somebody leaves a comment with that word, it sends them a direct message with whatever thing you've decided to send them, whether that's a preset message or a link of some kind. A lot of influencers will say, "Comment link for the link to my outfit that I'm wearing," or whatever. So knowing that she's an Arbonne and knowing that she's likely got these messages on automation, I went ahead and I commented cortisol for myself because I had this sick, sinking feeling that she would be using her sister's death to promote Arbonne, and I had to see it with my own eyes. And wouldn't you know it, within seconds, I got a copy-pasted automated message that gives you 3 tips for how to get out of fight or flight, and the third one is to lower your cortisol by buying an Arbonne supplement from her. She leaves her commissionable link that you can click on, and it takes you to her Arbonne storefront, where she's suggesting that the Inner Calm Adaptogenic De-Stress Powder is good for lowering your cortisol. Do I even have to explain to you how repulsive this is? It's not hard to see how this behavior is messed up. It's so sick and twisted to use your sister's death to your advantage in this way. Of course, I am so sorry for her loss. I wish that I didn't relate to losing a loved one in this manner, but I do. I get it. I understand the pain and the grief that goes along with that. it's something you never get over. It's something you carry with you forever, and I would never wish that upon anyone. I do understand grief. I do not understand the exploitation of grief. I will never understand exploiting a personal family tragedy for money. She's putting on an entire production here. First, she has this cryptic Instagram reel where she's directing you to go read her caption, where she trauma dumps on you, and she encourages you to leave a comment to therefore engage with her post and boost its performance. And then she finally sends you a direct message with this Arbonne link. Then and only then is her true motive revealed. All of this for essentially an Arbonne supplement advertisement. Putting your sister's tragic story on display for the world to see so that you can bait people into buying your MLM garbage is so vile. It's revolting. How dare you? This is a disgusting display of how people in MLMs will overshare their personal lives for the sake of sales. And I feel pretty confident saying that this post would not exist if she wasn't in an MLM. Because what motivation would there be? This whole post is a setup to send out Arbonne links to people. So if she wasn't peddling Arbonne supplements, there would be no reason for this post. It's a sneaky, manipulative way to play on people's emotions to get them interested in Arbonne, literally exploiting her dead sister for money. That is sickening. And with further investigation of this girl's account, she's no stranger to exploiting her loved ones for Arbonne sales. Her other regular target is her autistic son. And let me pause right here to address this. The topic of autism comes up a lot in my videos because people in MLMs have this misconception that it's something that needs to be fixed or cured, and they really lean into the idea that their MLM supplements have the power to fix autism in a way, which is gross in its own right, and we're about to get there. But in saying that, I feel the need to go back and correct my terminology. In previous videos, I've used the term person with autism because I've learned in the past that this person first language is preferred by some people in the autism community as a way to emphasize their individual identity apart from their autism, like I am more than my autism and I don't want to be defined by it. However, recently I did use this term in a video and I got several very kind, very constructive, very respectful comments informing me that now the correct term is just autistic or autistic person, because it's an inherent part of a person's identity and not something that they can or should really want to separate themselves from, and that it's something that should actually be embraced. So after seeing these comments, I did a little personal deep dive into the history of the language and the terminology, and I'll link a great article below if you want more information. And to an extent, I do get the impression that this is somewhat of a hot button topic, like some people do prefer one term over the other. I'm not really sure if there is one correct answer because everyone has their own preferences, but I do want to address that in the past I've used the term person with autism, and going forward I'm going to use the term autistic person. And I apologize if there was any offense taken in my previous videos. Please know that was not the intent. I always strive to have inclusive language. I thought I was doing that previously. I'm sorry that I wasn't, and thank you for those of you who kindly informed me of that. So in saying that, this Arbonne rep appears to be no stranger to airing her family's personal business on the internet to push products. She has quite a few posts connecting her son's autism to Arbonne, and this one in particular says why therapy isn't helping your child with autism. And again, it's a super long caption that I'll summarize, but she starts out by saying, comment free for my autism guide. So here we go again. Then she goes on to say that her son was nonverbal and in diapers until the age of 5 when he finally got diagnosed with level 3 autism, and at that point she decided to focus heavily on his gut health. And by doing that, he's now out of diapers and he's talking and he's learning to read and write at the age of 7. And she says food is medicine, and although every conventional doctor would disagree, I would like for them to show me one autistic child that has gotten better from being heavily medicated and hours of therapy in comparison to my child and many others who are healing their body with the food they eat every single day. I'm getting the sense from the way she's phrasing this that she's perhaps somewhat resistant to modern medicine or modern therapies, and she believes that she can fix or cure or treat her son's autism by just controlling what he consumes in the form of food or supplementation. She's offering up this free autism guide to tell you what she's doing to help her son, so naturally I commented again to see what this was all about. And to no one's surprise, it's all about detoxing and gut health. And she links to not only a $48 Arbonne product, but also a $112 Touchstone Essentials product, which is a separate, different MLM that she's also involved in. Both of these web pages have her member ID at the top of them. I'm blocking it out so you can't see it, but it's very clear that she's in both of these MLMs and she's getting a commission off of these links. This feels so problematic to me. The first layer is that I do not agree with her airing all of her child's personal information like this. She's got nearly 160,000 followers. They don't need to know when your son got out of diapers, okay? That just feels like such a huge invasion of privacy. As a mom myself, that does not sit right with me. He's also too young to consent to being on social media. Like most children, he doesn't understand the implications of social media and how far this information about him is really spreading. You see the number 160,000 on a screen, and it's hard to conceptualize what that looks like. Would you want your mom posting about your potty training milestones to enough people to fill not one, but 2 NFL stadiums? No, probably not. So why are you subjecting your child to that? And the second reason this feels problematic is obviously her motive behind sharing such private information about her autistic son. I guess it's one thing to use your platform for autism advocacy or to build a community of other parents of autistic children, but it's a way different, more sinister thing to use your platform for the purpose of making money off of that information that you're sharing about your autistic child and the unfounded health claims that you're making about your MLM products. Neither the Arbonne or Touchstone Essential products are tested and proven to do anything at all, so it's probably just an expensive placebo. So making claims about what these products have done for your child and how they're essentially helping to treat him is so unethical. She uses her 7-year-old son for her MLM promotion on a regular basis, without his consent, without his understanding, without any definitive evidence that the products actually work, all for the purpose of preying on other parents of autistic children to make money off of them. This is not okay. This has to stop. But she's not the first or last person to do this kind of thing. She's one of many people who make being a parent of an autistic child their whole brand or their whole niche within the MLM space as a way to peddle the products, which is extremely gross. On a much lighter and funnier note, here's somebody in the company Enagic. They're the ones that have these multi-$1,000 Kangen water filter machines, and she genuinely believes that her magic water can be used in place of laundry detergent. Take a look at this.
This is probably one of my absolute favorite parts of this machine. We were using this. The fact that I can just do laundry with water that comes out of a machine. I never have to spend $25 on this again, which we probably buy, what, 1 or 2 a month? Yeah. Sweet. People who follow my page already know I mix all my colors and then I just pour this 11.5 in there. That's it. Perfect.
You just know those clothes be stinking. The main purposes of a laundry detergent is to cut through the stains and the dirt and the grime and the oil, and also to reduce odors. Without it, you're just rinsing your clothes in water, which doesn't do much as far as actually cleaning them. That would be like washing a dirty pan with only water. Like, you can do it, but you're not cutting through all the grease and grime, and that's gonna build up over time. It's not really clean. There's only so much that hot water alone can do as far as cleaning and sanitizing. And trigger warning for any of my fellow emetophobes out there, but a couple of weeks ago, my daughter got sick in her crib. It was on her sheets, her sleep sack, her PJs, and you know what? All of that got scooped up and right into the washing machine. It stinks, it stains, it needs to be thoroughly washed and sanitized, and rinsing it with water is a preliminary step, but you best believe I ran that stuff through the laundry at least 3 times with detergent, with stain remover, and then when I took it out and moved it to the dryer, I disinfected the inside of my washing machine too, because I'm super paranoid and terrified of catching a stomach bug. Thank you to my emetophobia. Okay? That's where my mind goes when I'm seeing her using Kangen water instead of detergent. Like, what happens when someone in your house is sick and you need to get rid of germs? Or when you spill food on yourself and it stains? Or when you're exercising and your clothes get all sweaty and stinky? Like, your laundry can't possibly be getting clean with just water, right? You're just rinsing it essentially. You're doing nothing to treat the stains and smells. Oh wait, but it's magic water. It's Kangen water. It's filtered through this super expensive machine. Therefore, it has special powers. Her caption is pretty funny. It says, "It's just water" is not a phrase that exists in my vocabulary anymore. This powerful water ionizer has 7 different settings for pH variable, molecular, hydrogen-rich, antioxidant-rich, medical-grade water. The pH variance is created by the powerful process of electrolysis. Sound technical? It is. That's why this water has been absolutely life-changing for me and countless other people around the world. And I'll be honest, this means nothing to me, and I don't have the mental energy to try and decipher what she's saying, but I think that's kind of the point. Kangen reps are notorious for throwing out these word salads of all these big, fancy, scientific sounding words, and I think it's to intentionally disarm the reader. It's hard to dispute something that you don't know much about, and my guess is that people are not going to take the time to dig into what all these terms mean and to try and validate the claims that she's making. More often, I think people will just look at it and be like, oh, that sounds fancy, that sounds scientific, she sounds like she knows what she's talking about, so it must be legit. And if we're being honest, I would bet that most Kangen reps don't even know what these words mean either. I bet they're just copying and pasting and regurgitating the information that's been given them either by the company or their upline or some training video they watched. Does anyone selling Kangen water filters know what this actually means? Or is everybody just throwing these terms around because they sound fancy and no one questions it? It all comes back to the delusion of believing that your MLM products have the power to do something they don't, based on unfounded claims that have circulated within the company. Usually the Kangen people are making claims about how drinking the water can improve your physical health, but this is the first time I'm seeing somebody make the claim that you can use Kangen water as a replacement for things like laundry detergent. And she's doing it in such a way where she's framing it like it's a money saver, which is hilarious because this water machine is literally $5,000. $5,000 water machine or $13 bottle of laundry detergent. She said in her video that this detergent is $25 a bottle, but it's not. I looked it up and that type and that size bottle that she's showing is 13 bucks at Target. You would have to buy 385 bottles of laundry detergent to make this water machine worth it. She claims to use 2 bottles of this stuff a month, which I also call BS on. The back of the bottle says that there's enough detergent in this container for 60 loads. So 2 bottles would be 120 loads in a month for an average of 4 loads of laundry a day. I'm gathering from her account that she's got 2 kids, so a family of 4. A family of 4 is not producing 4 loads of laundry on a regular basis per day. If we want to go a step further and say that you're using one of these bottles of detergent a month, that means that it would take you over 7 years to use up enough detergent to cover the cost of your Kangen water filter. And I bring this up because I'm under the impression that she's exaggerating the claims of how expensive detergent is and how much of it she goes through so that she can frame Kangen machines as the more cost-effective option, which is honestly so hilarious considering how wildly expensive they are. Claiming that Kangen water can replace laundry detergent is a new one for me, that's for sure. Next up is a short segment cut out of a longer Amari Opportunity Zoom call where they're trying to convince people to join the company. And I just want to show you this short clip because it straight up exposes them for operating like a pyramid scheme, and it is beautiful to watch.
Company timing is huge. If you know anything about growth and even the industry, it's actually super rare, especially in this time that we're in, to see a graph that looks like this. And this is a legitimate graph. This is what our numbers look like. We are getting fed like exactly what's happening in the company month by month. There's a consistent growth over time. So we are in a time where there is hyper growth and momentum. And that is why you want to get in companies, and specifically with Amari, in a time where growth is really, really explosive and new things are being implemented and new products are happening. And we have a competitive compensation plan because eventually a company becomes huge and huge and huge, and you see more of that legacy growth and that stability, and you want to get in before that. And that's right now. And a lot of us, like a lot of our graphs, our personal graphs and our personal numbers in our back office match exactly what Amari told us was going to happen and is happening, which is really, really cool. So we're leading the social selling industry. We're in hypergrowth. We're going to be experiencing a lot of momentum in the next 5 to 10 years. And if you can get in now and think about what your life can be in 5 to 10 years, you're going to be so thankful that you said yes. For me, I've only been in this a year. Our family has been insanely blessed. Like the trajectory of our life and our finances has totally changed. And if I hadn't said yes a year ago, I wouldn't be here today. And it's only 1 year. And so I'm thinking, wow, like think about where we can all be in 1 year from now, in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now.
Here's that graph full screen because this is the piece that speaks volumes. It's showing us the life expectancy of an MLM, basically. This is shown to us in the context of Amari, but it really does apply to all MLMs. There's the startup period where the company is founded and word starts to spread about it. Then there's this growth phase where people start joining and proving what the opportunity can do for you. Then there's this hyper growth phase, as they're calling it, which is apparently what Amari is in right now, where everybody wants in and there's this big influx of new recruits. And then finally they reach the point of saturation, things start to level off because there's no new people to recruit and everyone already knows about the company. This, my friends, is how a pyramid scheme works. Showing the graph in the context of this opportunity call is supposed to be a good thing for them, trying to make the point of like, we're in hyper growth right now and now is the prime time to join if you want to be successful and you want to make money. And the worst part is that it's true. There absolutely is a sweet spot for MLMs between nobody knows about it and everybody knows about it. The company has to be new enough where it's like, oh wait, what's this great opportunity? You're seeing so much success. I have to get in right now, but I've never heard about it. What is it? But it can't be old enough where it's already got the reputation of being a pyramid scheme and there's people who have already joined, been burned by it, and left. And the sweet spot, according to this graph, lasts about 6 years. And once the company hits 10 years old, then the prime opportunity has already passed. And any new people joining the company at that point are going to have a much more difficult time finding success. It's funny because her graph labels this as legacy growth that provides stability for people in the long term. But what that really just translates to is congrats, you got in early enough where you built up a big downline and now you can make money off of them for years to come. Until maybe there's a drop off and that graph eventually declines as people are quitting faster than they're joining. declining. The interesting thing about this part of the call is that there's nothing to refute. I agree with all of her points. This graph is an accurate representation of the lifetime of an MLM company. And unfortunately for her, it also kind of exposes how it operates closely to a pyramid scheme. You only have a shot at success if you join during the sweet spot, and past that, it's an uphill climb. This shows us how getting in early is beneficial. It shows us that everything's dependent on recruitment, and it shows us kind of how the opportunity deteriorates over time. It starts to flatline, and maybe if the graph was extended, you would see it declining. None of this is a good sign, and quite frankly, I'm surprised that they would even include a visual like this. I understand that it's an opportunity presentation and they're trying to make the point of like, now's the time, jump on it while you can, but I think they're inadvertently showing us how this operates like a money-making scheme and how there is a saturation point to it, and if you don't get in now, you're never gonna find success, which is not a good look, but it's also the truth. Here's another pretty funny reel because of how out of touch it is. This girl is in the MLM company Economy, which is one that rarely comes up. This is a trading MLM similar to iGenius, and the product that they're selling are like courses and tools on how to trade stock and cryptocurrency. And she posted this short video that says, I don't have time. There are 168 hours in a week, 40 hours for work, 56 hours for sleep, 7 hours for training or for working out, 20 hours for other, and 43 hours left. You have time. It's priorities that are missing. And her caption says, the first steps to success is knowing your priorities. If it's a priority, you'll find a way. If it isn't, you'll find an excuse. No one is ever too busy, so do it for your future self. DM me if you're ready to prioritize yourself. And interestingly, she hashtags #relatable, which is ironic because this is not relatable at all to claim that everyone just has 43 free hours in the week to do whatever they want with, and that not having time to join her MLM is just an excuse. This logic starts to fall apart really quickly when we apply half a second of critical thinking to it. These calculations don't account for the time that you're taking to commute to these places that you have to go, the time spent getting yourself ready for the day, time spent preparing or eating meals, housework, errands, appointments, bathroom breaks. If you're a student, then you have time dedicated to school, and don't even get me started on what your day looks like if you're a parent, okay? Then you're really screwed. You have no time for yourself and your schedule is not dependent on you. So I find this whole we all have the same 24 hours in a day mentality really toxic, because sure, there are 24 hours in a day, but we all have different circumstances dictating how we're able to spend those hours. So to see a 20-something young, single, childless girl who doesn't have a job and doesn't go to school telling you that you're never too busy to join her MLM and that you should just be working harder and get your priorities straight is so out of touch with reality and honestly pretty infuriating, and for some, insulting. But something I have to remind myself at the end of the day is that she's a victim of the scheme too. This is a misconception that was likely bestowed upon her by other people in the company trying to convince her of the exact same thing, that you have time to make this a priority if you actually want it bad enough. This kind of toxic hustle culture mentality is something that you learn through a high control group like an MLM, because they want you to believe that your success is solely up to you, and if you just outwork everyone else in the room, you'll make it to the top. Of course, we know this isn't true, but it's an essential lie that people have to kind of believe in order to keep the scheme afloat. The company needs to keep people believing that they will be rich if they just work hard enough so that people keep recruiting and therefore making the company more money. So at first glance, this kind of post is maddening and almost insulting to the working class, but the more I think about it, the more sad it seems. This is a young woman with her whole life ahead of her, but rather than going to school or joining the workforce or learning a trade or whatever she wants to do, she's stuck in an MLM thinking that she's gonna be a millionaire one day, and that's really unfortunate. This reminds me of when I interviewed my friend Hannah, who was in an MLM for 6 years. That interview is on my channel if you'd like to check it out. It's a very insightful conversation, I think. But she joined her MLM right out of high school, and we had a conversation about how she feels so behind because of that, because she believed that she was investing all this time in a business that was going to create financial security for her in the long term. But now she's realizing like this is a money-making scheme and it's not a good opportunity. But now that I've been in it for 6 years, what do I have to show for it? No schooling, no work experience, nothing to put on a resume. That's a very unsettling position to be in, and that's something we talked about in that video. MLMs don't work out for most people that join, so to see a young, passionate, driven person putting so much time and energy into something that's not going to compensate them fairly is really disheartening. This post strikes me as someone who has fully drank the MLM Kool-Aid, and they have fully bought into the idea that they can work their way to the top of the pyramid, and that's so sad to see. Here's another short reel from another Enagic Kangen water rep, and it says, them, what if your little business doesn't work out? Me, then I'll get a real job and work until retirement. My worst case scenario is what most people settle for. And this last part is what landed this in a video, okay? My worst case scenario is what most people settle for. Doesn't that come across a little insulting to you? Another thing posted by somebody in an MLM that feels very disconnected and out of touch with reality. Like, I'm better than you because I'm in an MLM kind of thing, and that having a real job is the bottom tier of human existence and something that people just settle for. This falls right in line with the imagery of that man working in corporate America and his life is in grayscale. And he goes to work in some cubicle doing some mind-numbing task for 8 hours a day and his soul is sucked out of him. Can that feel like a reality for some people in some jobs? Absolutely. But for the most part, I think this is a generalized stereotype that MLM Huns like to play up to make their opportunity look better. I don't think it's fair to make the blanket statement that most people are working these awful, soul-sucking 9-to-5 jobs that they hate and it's just something they're settling for in life. In fact, I think it's really about the way you frame it and what a person values in their job. MLM Huns love to demonize 9-to-5 jobs, but there's also a lot of aspects about it that could be desirable to some people. Here's a few examples. One that always comes to mind is the traditional 9-to-5 job has set working hours, but in an MLM, you get to have your own hours and be your own boss and decide when you work. But I'm sure that some people in a 9-to-5 find that they have a better work-life balance because your work hours and your leisure hours are separated. There's boundaries. Whereas in an MLM, you're expected to work in every nook and cranny of free time you have in your life. So there are no clear boundaries and you find yourself kind of working 24/7 instead of 9-to-5. Another example for a 9-to-5 is that you do have to request time off if you're sick or if you want to take vacation time. And in an MLM, you don't. You get to decide when you want to take time off. But with the 9-to-5, it's paid time off. It's paid leave. You can use those vacation days and go and have an actual work-free vacation while still getting paid. With an MLM, you can take time off whenever you want, but then you're sacrificing that time that could be spent furthering yourself in the business. And it might end up setting you back or decreasing your earning potential. So that time off might be harder to appreciate and enjoy. It's almost like with a 9-to-5, you have the added benefit of having paid time off, but with an MLM, taking time off is somewhat of a sacrifice, and there might be some kind of guilt associated with that. And the final example that I always think of is in a 9-to-5, you get paid a set amount for the hours that you work, and MLMs always like to say that you have this untapped earning potential where you can earn as much as you want because it all depends on how hard you work and how much you sell and recruit. But I always think with a 9-to-5, at least you're guaranteed a paycheck. At least you're getting compensated for the work you do. With an MLM, there's no guarantee of any money at all. It's all commissions and bonuses. So if your efforts don't amount to anything in the form of sales or recruits, then you're SOL. Too bad, so sad. All that time is wasted and you can't get it back. In fact, according to the Enagic income disclosure statement, nearly 60% of distributors made a median income of $285 for the whole year in 2022. You would have to rank up to the top 0.5% of the company in order to start making a full-time income. Are you kidding me? This Enagic income disclosure is making a traditional 9-to-5 look really dang appealing right about now, considering that most people in this company don't even make enough money to cover the cost of their own multi-$1,000 water filter. Think about that. People are dropping several $1,000s on these Kangen filters, and then they're only making back a few $100s for the entire year. That is wild. That, my friends, is not a job. That's a scam. So these are just a few examples that come to mind when I think about the 9-to-5 to MLM comparison. The traditional 9-to-5 setting is more controlled. It is more structured, and that's not for everyone, and that's okay. But I don't think placing this stereotype on the entire world of 9-to-5 traditional jobs is entirely accurate or fair. There's plenty of people who enjoy their traditional jobs. They respect the work they do. They appreciate the structure and the stability that it offers them, and they find value in the lifestyle that it affords them. I guess I just think it's disrespectful to be like, if I fail, then fine, I'll go work one of these normal jobs like the rest of you sad people. You're settling and living your last resort life? Fine, I guess I can too if my business doesn't work out. That's just rude and it's not accurate. But again, it's a stereotype that I think people in MLMs blow way out of proportion. And in this case, I don't think her approach is very effective. It's not coming off the way she wants it to, I don't think. And with that, my friends, it's everything I have for you for this MLM Top Fails video today. If you made it this far in the video, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, okay? Today has been like the work day from hell as far as filming goes, because I filmed this entire video several hours ago. It was great. I was so efficient. I was on the ball. My baby slept the whole time, which never happens. And I finished a little bit early and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I am on top of the world. This is so great. I was so proud of myself that I got all of that filmed so efficiently because I'm on a major time crunch with this video. Actually, it has to be filmed today. And then I go and look at the footage to be able to send it to Elise, my editor, and I notice that I have a glob of peanut butter on the corner of my mouth from my breakfast. It was so noticeable, comically noticeable. Like I couldn't even take myself seriously. And it was the fact that I had a sponsorship at the beginning of this video that I really needed to act professional for, that I had to refilm the entire thing. I just wasn't gonna allow myself to send a brand footage of me with peanut butter on my face. Like that would be so ridiculous. And I also didn't want to just refilm the sponsorship portion without peanut butter and then the rest of the video there's peanut butter on my face. Oh, I'm laughing now because I've refilmed the video and everything's okay, but I had a little mentee bee there in the middle. So just a little fun fact there, I guess. Sometimes life really throws you some curveballs. Filming this entire video start to finish 2 different times today was not on my to-do list, but we got it done and thank God. And I could not do these MLM Top Fails without you. I'm so grateful for everyone who sent in the clips for me to show in this video. I completely rely on viewer submissions for these MLM Top Fails. So in saying that, if you see things on social media that you'd love to have considered for one of these videos or you think would be a great fit, please go ahead and send it to me. I would love to take a look at it, and the instructions are in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.